Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Belle, senior editor over at the Koalition.com.
My name is Lawrence, aka a punk with toys on all the socials, although I may look a little different because we're actually recording in the daytime and you can see a light reflecting off my face.
Nice.
So you can actually finally see everything that's behind me, and I apologize for the mess that is right here.
It says mess. I have a mess over here. It's a mess. It's just the way it is, right?
I haven't gotten around to cleaning and taking shots here, photography. Mm-hmm. This is supposed to be an inside over here when I do pictures, but it's become a place to just drop stuff. And over here is where I've been doing a lot of my stuff. You can see an awesome Robo Skull though.
Nice. I think I got one. I got a Robo Skull right here still, and no box.
No, see, that's a little Robo. This is the Robo.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah, the big boys.
That's Skeletron. Those are the figures. There's
yes.
a whole bunch of them over all over the place.
Man.
This is the Robo Skull, the wonderful vehicle. But anyway, we're not here to talk.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Or you can check out his channel, Punk with Toys. But hey, everybody, we are back. Marshals. Season 1, episode 3, Road to Nowhere, and we might as well just call it a season 1 because it's been approved for a season 2. We've talked about it before in the last 2 episodes. People are on the fence. Oh, it's not so much like a Yellowstone. No, it's a drama. It's more action-based, crime of the week. Yeah, but you know what? This is working. You know what I mean? It's like it's doing it. Especially this episode. If anything, it pulls you in with the Clegg brothers and the family, the compound, all that. We see where it's going.
Yes, and again, to me, I like the fact that hey, it is different than anything that's Yellowstone. A matter of fact, it's not even like the CBS, weekly drama like we've seen. Mm-hmm. It is a serial show. So to me, it's more something like Justified, which also has Marshals, but it's taking place within the Yellowstone universe. But what I do like about it is, and we actually talked about it while we were watching it, is that one of the things is like Taylor Sheridan isn't writing this from our understanding, but what you do have is it seems like the writers who are writing Kayce into it have let Luke Grimes know, hey, you are Kayce. Like, how he would act. So they're not trying to rewrite him as a different character. Mm-hmm. We do hear some slight callbacks to Yellowstone, how his dad handled certain things. And I think that's how it should be. You shouldn't be trying to pull everything. Anytime you have a spinoff show, and you'll know this, anytime you have a spinoff show that instantly goes to bringing in characters or plots from, the show that it's spinned off from, it's usually doomed.
Yeah, it usually is. But hopefully this will pan out and it'll materialize into something entertaining because so far it is. And it looks like they're also giving us a little more backstory or more of what's going on with certain characters. And it looks like they're starting with Belle because this episode starts off in a casino. And we weren't too sure at first. We had to rewind it and pause. Like, is that Belle? Yeah, Skinner. Yeah, because she has a different name. But it seems like besides hanging out at the bar with the team for drinks, she also likes to hang out at the casino, and she runs a pretty heavy tab on this. Yeah.
So what we have here, remember, she was part of ATF. Now the question is, was she undercover? And because they give her name is like Tarek is what they call her. So we see the pit boss come over who's with someone, and she's basically saying, hey, I'm good for this. I think she won like 8,000 or 9,000.
Marker. Yeah, it was almost 10,000. It's like 8.
Yeah, I think they gave her like 2,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
So the question is, was this when she was undercover for the ATF, or does she go by something different because she has, a gambling issue? Now,
so you think like a flashback? If it was like a flashback?
Yeah, I think that this was a flashback to. And I meant to say, hey, let's watch the beginning again because the girl that spits in her face. Spoiler alert! I don't know if that was the same girl that she was talking to. It was not.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because it has Pit Boss on here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say who it is. That's the guy that came whatever.
I think, and we'll get to the spitting in the face because I do have some thoughts. I think I know where that whole thing is going. But yeah.
So the thing is, I don't want to see everyone have a different problem. We already know that Cal has an issue with pills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to have like each. I don't want this to be like. It turns out to be this is the gang of misfits, and they all like the trope that I think we've seen.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to go down that road, but we've seen this before. All these type of team building. There's always going to be a few episodes. Well, even Star Trek and all of them where they focus heavily one episode on a particular character. Yeah. You know,
and I have no issues with that because that is story building. And if you want something to go 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons, I mean, CBS and some of these other shows, they're known for it.
Yeah, they can definitely go.
Yeah, we got Blue Bloods for what 13, 14 season, and now they're doing Boston Blue, which is a spinoff of it.
Now this is only 13 episodes, Marshals 13 episode season. Second season could be longer. It depends on how this pans out. The numbers have been pretty strong so far, but it's still early.
And remember, this is a CBS show, not a Paramount show. So that changes everything.
It changes a lot. It definitely does. Also what changes is navigation in this area for the trucks, because as we see in the next scene, it's at night. Some guys get out of a truck, they put some dynamite or C4, whatever you want to call it, explosives on the road, on the highway. They drive off, kaboom, it goes. Interesting start with that, because I once we get into the next scene, I pretty much think that it's still related to the res, that somebody on the res was doing this, right?
Didn't Landman do the exact same thing?
They did.
Landing.
They did.
They did. No. Sorry, I just dawned on me. Anyway.
Yeah. So they deal with that. We jump over real quick to Kayce. Kayce's at home. You thought he was carrying tape. That was kind of funny. But we see him, he's working.
Let's explain it quickly. Okay. So I'm watching this on the computer with you through StreamYard. So I don't even have a full screen. And we come right back from the credits, and Kayce's walking, and he has like these two pillars. And as he's walking, it's coming up on him, and it looks like he's got Tate's legs on his shoulder,
and he's just dangling in the back. He's gonna fling him over, but hey, he's there. He's trying to fix his lid, and he gets a visitor. He gets two. He gets Mo and
Rainwater.
Thomas Rainwater. They show up. Rainwater looks good as new. As you remember, he took a shot, but he's fine now. He
looks good as new until he's asked to do some work, and then all of a sudden, I think we all have a friend like that, right?
Oh yeah, everybody. It's like, everything is great. Hey, listen, I need to move this couch. But my back got that old injury back when I played football in high school.
We all have at least one friend, if not multiple.
Yeah. But it was funny. They start talking about the whole thing, and he was like, "All right, well, glad to see you're back up on your feet." And this is where they mentioned they haven't the person that tried to assassinate him. They have no leads on it yet. No, they have no leads on it. They also mentioned that the government are still moving in. They're getting ready to open up, because that's going to be the next step, right? They're gonna get this mine started. So I knew, I had a feeling that was going to play a bigger part and continue on throughout the story.
Well, what else are you going to talk about in Montana? I mean, they can't build an airport there. That one's out from Yellowstone. I mean, it's got to be something that is going to mess with the natural resources.
Yeah, definitely going on there, right? But then we jump back right to the road, right? If I'm remembering right. Did we jump to the road?
I have the Marshall house where they're discussing.
Yeah, let's go.
Like they go back to them. I know. Is this the Marshall's house? Is this a command center? What is this? Like, we haven't figured it out.
They jump back and forth. We didn't see any of the other background people that they talked about. I don't know if this is a hangout spot or another section of the HQ, just like the boxing ring.
And that's what's weird. It's like this log cabin that's just like, is it like an old mini strip that they have different? It kind of reminds me of a hotel where it's like, oh, over here is where you have the water park, and over here is where you have the gym, and like it's weird. It's like they combined everything, and we don't really know, because we do see them there later on in the episode, and then someone comes in and tells them that's not from the unit. So it's weird. But anyway, either way, Kayce shows up there. Cal starts talking to him, and basically says, like, it doesn't really seem like you're all in, or it's hard to be all in when you're going home and you have your ranch on your mind, which is kind of understandable. But at the same time, that he recruited Kayce already knowing, hey, you have all of this in your life going on. You can't just walk away from it.
I got some audio for that. That was a good piece.
Yeah, it's just kind of tough to be all in all the time if you're always spinning plates, right?
I'm sorry I haven't mastered the art of sabotaging my relationships and obligations like you have.
Why does it always feel like I brought a knife to a gunfight with you? It just wouldn't hurt you to try bonding with your teammates, Kayce.
You brought me here to crush skulls, not hold hands.
That is true. Crash skulls, not hold hands. I'm nobody's friend.
They
just
needed
here to make some money.
Yeah, they needed someone that knows the land, understands. It seems like Miles is maybe too young to have experienced all of that. We see Belle, she's from the area, but she clearly doesn't have that experience. And again, after watching Yellowstone, we all know, Kayce, this is what his family has done. They have skirted the rules, and that has been brought up, in 2 episodes so far, of how that they get away with things, that there's always trouble wherever they're at.
Yep. They go into the next room. We see Belle there. She brings up Romper Room. You've never heard Romper Room. I'm sure a lot of people have heard Romper Room if you're older, if you know PBS. With the teacher, she had the kids. She looked in the mirror and it was looking at the camera, and I see Timmy, Bobby, Mikey. But it was funny that she brought that up because that's an old show, old callback. But it's mainly because we see Andrea and Miles, and they're just shooting around, like Nerf guns, right? They're just shooting around.
Yeah, they weren't Nerf guns, but I wrote down Nerf guns, a Nerf gun fight.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. They're definitely not paintballing indoors. So
yeah,
but they're running around, coming up with strategies. And it was kind of funny because then we just heard Cal telling Kayce about, team building and trying to put things together. And he was like, all right, well, this is it. This is your chance, because what did you think of their strategy? He just walked in, but he was like, well, you got to control the real estate, that type of deal. And
I just thought they were like shooting at each other for fun.
Fun. Yeah, I didn't make it seem. But they were like, oh, okay, this seems like a good training exercise. And it's like, all right, there you go, Kayce, team building. Now you teach them. I got to go do some stuff.
Yeah, I would say that Cal knew, like, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up to Kayce, but either way, I have things that I have to do when he gets here. I'm going to stick him on this, because it sounds like Kayce, again, if you're a Navy SEAL, I'm assuming you all know how it goes. But rather than him teach it, hey, I brought you in for a reason. Hey, do some team building, show them how to clear the room. And Kayce keeps talking about, keeping the real estate, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Keep the real estate. He shows them a different way of clearing the room. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was a better way of doing it. All right.
So,
but it is what it is. Right. So then we jump over, and then this is where we see the big truck, right? We get a big truck coming down the road. We see that it's. Yep.
Oh, so at first I thought under like the first time I saw it, that the res road had been blown up, and that's why they weren't letting anyone pass.
Yeah,
it wasn't that. The other road was blown up, and this is why they're going down this way. Now that you go, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's because then the guy explains it. Because then at the time we don't know. We definitely know a road was blown, but we don't know which road. And the truck pulls up, then you'll see we got Thomas, we got the rest of his group there, and locals from the res all standing in the road. They knew this was happening, and this is why I'm suspecting that they were behind the blowing of the highway. Yes, because how would you? Yeah, how would you know that trucks are going to be rerouted through the res to get to the mine site unless you knew something happened to the main highway? So.
But they have police, right? I mean, there would have been police. I mean, there would have been I mean, they're all connected, and I would
They're all
assume
connected.
that the res, police force, they have to monitor what else is going on around, or they were probably notified, hey, the road was
Maybe.
blown here. So now
Well,
they knew that there's only one other way around.
We'll see, because that really doesn't get addressed
Oh.
in this episode. So the trucker gets out, was like, hey, what are you doing? Get out of the road. He explains the whole situation. You don't belong here. This is Red's land. And he's like, well, someone blew the highway. We were rerouted this way. We have to get to the site. Well, you don't. Well, the big hogs here can't do a U-turn. What then? What? Well, they belong to us now. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah, and that again, that was one of those. Okay, like you can't just keep someone's, and they kind of address that. You can't just keep someone's property because they can't turn around. It would have been easy enough to have had a roadblock there. Say, all right, well, you can go up this far, turn around, and then head back and find your way around. But this is just a bargaining chip for them. And Kayce even, I believe it's Kayce even says something like that.
Well, yeah, later on he brings up the whole thing. So then we go back. Everybody, they're doing their whole thing, doing the drills. Miles is happy. This is great. I'm so happy. I figured out how to properly clear a room. And Cal comes in and saying, all right, we got a job. And then he explains what's going on. Everything, their job. And we had to look this up just to make sure. Does the Marshals have jurisdiction on res land if something goes down? And they do. Apparently they do.
Yes. So federal agencies have jurisdictions even on reservation land. So that would mean the FBI, the ATF, U.S. Marshals. They have jurisdiction on reservation land because, like you said, like the reservation, no matter how you look at it, is still part of the United States of America. So,
yeah. And it pretty much says, hey, we're here to keep the peace, all right? It's going to be fine. Miles gets into some of the history. Kayce also co-signs on them. It's like, yeah, this is going to be a problem. This has always been a problem. There's always going to be battles with, the surrounding areas, you want to call them locals, plus the res and jurisdiction and land and all that stuff. So as long as shots aren't fired, and the whole thing is he's like, gear up. This is it. This could be something serious. But as Miles brings up, as he's talking to Andrew about all this, he's like, this is more of a show of force. Let's just put this on, put the get up, have the guns. Maybe that's enough just to intimidate. And it's like, all right, let's back off. And I could see that. But then also I could see the other side. It's like, oh, you're getting very aggressive. This is a peaceful, gathering here of just protesting.
That even gets mentioned.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you're seeing here is Kayce is used to being pulled on both sides, being married to Monica, being pulled on the side of the Duttons, also being pulled on the side of the res, where Miles here, he's never dealt with that. It seems he's still young. He's always been, he was part of the res police force. Now he just, he joined the U.S. Marshals. This is where, like, he talks, and he even says it later on where he talks about, like, it was, we're there to help. And, I was looked at it as an outsider from both sides.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. And we already know something crazy is going to happen. So they show up on site. Now it's just this huge traffic jam because it seems like everyone's being rerouted. It wasn't just like the trucks. We got cattle. We have regular people in their cars. Everyone's trying to go through. And it's a mess.
So what sucks about this is that, unfortunately, we don't have a map to see exactly where they're at, and again, it would be ridiculous to say here, like, maybe they should show, like, maybe the marshal should have been like, here's a map of the reservation. This is what got blown. So it gives us an idea of, like, okay, why couldn't you go around this? Right.
Yeah.
Just to give us an idea of how large the reservation is to get these trucks completely around it, because where they need to get has nothing to do with the reservation, but it's on the other side of the reservation. And
then also who reroute? Who chose this route? Who said, you know what, let's go down this other way? Like you said, they could have gone another one. I have a feeling this is going to go back to the governor and all the drama.
Well, not only that, but I think, again, without knowing how big the reservation is, we know the Yellowstone, what was the largest privately owned area in Montana. So we know that's huge. We don't know how big the reservation is.
Yeah. There we go.
But we also know, but here's the other thing we know is that because of Yellowstone being given to the reservation, they can never build anything on it. They can't build roads. They can't even drive on it. No motor vehicles. That was all stuff. So how far would you have to go around? That's
And hopefully one day they show us a little layout, and that would be cool.
Yeah, and before anyone says, why are you nitpicking it? Because we're talking about the show. That's the reason.
We're talking about the show, and this is the big part of the show, that this is the only other road. So if ever, whenever they have to do construction on that highway, is this the alternate? You know, this is what has to happen. But whatever, we'll see. So anyway, all backed up. The team walk up to the front. One guy introduces himself and starts talking about Kayce and talking about how great of a person he is, blah, blah, blah. But the big part is when we see Michael Cudlitz, right? The actor. We also know him as Abraham from The Walking Dead. He took a bat to the head by Negan. You know him from 90210, which was kind of scary. I didn't know you were a fan of 90210.
Oh, but, you don't? Oh, yes.
Nope.
My daughter and I have been rewatching. I used to love 90210.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
That's
we know
crazy.
Him from a lot of things.
Of course. He's a known actor, but I just know him.
And that's I forgot that he was in 90210. And not just like one episode. He was in for a few episodes. Not a main character, though. But
no, it's cool. I saw him at a Comic-Con, and I was gonna go and take a picture and do it, but he had a long line, and I was like, this is right after The Walking Dead. He just got killed off. Right? Spoiler if someone's like, what are you doing?
Spoiler.
Oh man, it's been like 12, 13 years.
Next thing you're gonna tell me Glenn dies too.
What? No, I'm editing that out. That's getting cut out. But while they're walking over, we see, so his name is Randall, the character's name here. And Randall Clegg, and it's a big deal. And let's just bring up the audio because it was a lot.
On a few, looks like they already turned.
Randall Clegg.
That dogging is hard. Very armed, very angry.
It's the Clegg brand. They've been in these parts as long as my family.
Yeah, without the money and the power. Their family compound got a visit from ATF a few years back. Nearly went Ruby Ridge. Local police give them a wide berth ever since.
Not wide enough.
You caused this, Dutton.
You see? So that was very important. That piece right there, because that tells us these people not only been there forever, which fine. We didn't hear anything about them before in Yellowstone. That's okay. But this is going to be the new big bad. This group, this family, this whatever you want to call them, because they have the compound and the Cleggs, and then I'm sure they have others that work with them. But the fact that Kayce brings it up also, they've been here just as long as my family, and
you know
she brings up Belle, brings up the ATF. We had the Ruby Ridge situation. I'm like, oh, great. All right, so we see where this is going. What's up?
Could it be that this road was built on the Yellowstone, and then when they gave the Yellowstone to the res, now it's reservation? So maybe there was a road that at one time wasn't part of the reservation, but now it is owned by them.
And I was just going to jump into that because following right after that, if people remember from the episode, from that scene, that's one of the lines that Randall starts kicking. He's like, we blame you, the Duttons, your family, for all this. You had to go and you had to give all the land over to the res, and now we're having all these problems. So I think,
but Kayce is the one that comes up with the idea to give it to the res for for the same price they paid for it.
Yeah, it was his whole thing. Yeah, so you know what? That does make sense right there. So it could have been that this was always the alternate route where if something happened with the highway, but now that Yellowstone is gone and all this land now belongs to the res, then they can do what they want with it, and they want to block it. So it is what it is.
Now, see that now, if that's what it is,
I think that's what it is.
That would have been a good point where one of them, probably Andrea, I'd say, what does he mean by this is your fault? And he said, hey, we sold the land to the reservation, and this was our road, and we used to allow people to go through it. Now
they should do that in a bar. That would be a good bar conversation with Belle, for Andrea to be like, ask more questions. Like, all right, I'll fill the backstories happen at the bar.
Yeah, 20 seconds. 20 seconds is all it takes. Maybe not even that much, and you're done.
Yeah,
and that's good filler to add to it. But
they walk past them because they're trying to get to the main crowd that's arguing with the truckers, and then Randall had to talk some smack, and I got some of that too.
Family name doesn't carry water anymore, so you got to hide behind a federal badge.
Now the mighty have fallen.
Still got a long way to go before I make it down to you.
Nice comeback. But we get that nice zoom in shot on Randall, and this just lets me know it's like, all right, he's gonna cause problems. His people are gonna cause problems. And like you said, he's a known actor. You don't bring him in for a one-off.
Yeah, and this is, again, anyone that's watched Justified, and you'll hear me go back to Justified all the time because I think it was so wonderfully written. In Justified, it goes, I think, 9 seasons. There are specific families that we see in that are just, they're entrenched in, this type of community, right? You have a smaller community, you have families that have been there for years and years. And this is no different. So I have a feeling that these Cleggs here are going to be an ongoing family, going forward.
It's going to be an issue. So they show up, they're trying to calm the situation, and the truckers start getting hot, and one of them throws a punch. There's a fight. Cal jumps in, pushes the guy off, says, "Get off the land. Get off Broken Rock land." This is it. Oh, why are you siding with them? It was like, no, it's just the way it is. It's the rules, get away. And that's pretty different than how he was describing the situation back at their HQ of how he was going to handle it, right?
Yeah.
Because he made it seem like it was going to be the other way around. It was like he was going to tell them, hey, no, too bad. Suck it up, Buttercup, get off the road. But that's not the approach that he takes here. And then it leads to this altercation. They start arguing. Says he's going to handcuff him, and then all of a sudden, shots fired. And they instantly say, it was like, this is toward us. Really? I thought it was toward anybody.
Actually, after that, we get the person that notices Belle and refers to her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So there's a girl that like notices Belle, but refers to her as Turek. I don't think it's Turek.
But refers to her as the name that we heard the woman say in the casino, which was Belle. We weren't too sure, but it was Belle. And now it's her other name, and she says a new name is Skinnerd, right? And she's like, "Oh yeah, I would have changed my name too if I were you." And then, go ahead.
Yeah, and then she spits in her face. She doesn't really do anything because whatever happened back then, she knew that she probably did. Whatever she did probably was deserving to be spit in the face.
And she was ATF, and if she's known for raiding those type of Ruby Ridge type compounds, who knows where this woman is from? You know what I mean? She might be part of the Cleggs. She might be part of that whole crew.
And this is where Cruz kind of takes her down, and she tells her, hey, it's not worth it. Just let it go. Let it go. And it does get asked later on by Cruz, but very they don't get in depth into it. And then this is where the shooting starts.
Yeah. Shooting starts. They're getting shot. They were like, oh, well, they're shooting at us. Really? I mean, I thought they were just shooting at the crowd. But
yeah, this is one of those things where they were shooting. Two girls get shot. Yeah. Why they thought they were shooting at the Marshals? That I was like, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense because,
it just could be just to trigger an event and to get everybody, riled up. This is it. Most of these people are carrying weapons, right? They're allowed to carry. So
yeah, and shooting at the Marshals. I mean, if your idea was to shoot at the Marshals, they're going to hunt you down. Your idea would have been to shoot before the Marshals get there. That way, hopefully you can disperse and then get through the way you want.
Yeah, show this Randall. I didn't get to see him. But so then they go head up into the brush, and it was Cal and Kayce. They see this guy running, and they chase him down. Now, here's the thing. If you take your shot and you know that they're going to come up and you're going to say you're innocent, which this guy eventually does, why run? It's like you took the shot, but whatever. Kayce finds shells. They see, there's like, oh, this is from a hunting rifle. All right, we're in the right section here. They see him. They take him down, and they're like, all right, we're going to bring him in for questioning. This is it.
I don't understand how this guy isn't way far ahead of them because they had to find where he was at. Then they see him. Then they chase after him. And then Kayce, once again, this is, I think, the third episode, we've seen him magically be in front of somebody that he should not be. Twice on a horse.
He knows
twice on a horse.
Shortcuts. The man knows shortcuts. He is like a ghost. I just finished rewatching The Patriot. Remember that with Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
And it's same thing. It's like he was everywhere. He was in front. He was on the side. He's all over the place.
I love The Patriot. I'm just gonna say
it's great. Did you know that Mel Gibson is from New York? He was born in New York. Did you know that?
I did not.
A lot of people don't know that. They're like, oh, he's Australian. His family, his dad, they moved to Australia, but no, he's from upstate New York. But anyway, they bring him in for questioning, right?
Yep.
So we get Andrea. She's asking all the questions because Cal was like, "Hey, we need to find out what's going on here with all this." I was like, "Yeah, I'll find out what's going on." Turns out he's a rancher, and they go back and forth, and he basically says, "Listen, you're not from here. All the stuff going on with the Reds, they're against progress." What do you mean progress? Progress, like, having big business show up here, hotels, airlines, that type of stuff. That brings jobs, that puts food on the table and also. And I'm like, oh, then I guess he was against the Duttons also, because the Duttons were against all that. And
Yes.
he would have been one of the ones trying to side with the big corporations when they were looking for locals to help out. He would have been one of those.
Yeah, and again, one of the things, and this is like just partial truth to it. Like, I have to feed my family. Now, I would say there's better ways to go about trying to feed your family than taking shots where not only are U.S. Marshals, but there's also police force, right? There are police there. But we also get a better explanation of everything later on. But he is right. Like, if I can't get there to work on this, where we were going, how do I feed my family?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is some truth to what he's saying. I just believe there's a better way to go about it. I think you would agree too.
Yeah. Definitely aware. Right. So we get another scene with Cal and Kayce trying to figure this whole thing out. And Cal's trying to convince him. He's like, listen, you're friends with Rainwater. Talk to him. They just do that. And he was like, no, I'm an island, not a bridge. That was a great line, in regards to how things were with the Dunn family. It's not like we used to be. I don't have that type of pull. But then again, I mean, Cal doesn't know this, but we do as the viewers. Kayce and Rainwater are blood brothers. Remember, they did that in the end of season 5, the final season.
Even so, okay, so they can go back to like, hey, we no longer have the Yellowstone, so we don't have that much power. He still has pull. He still has power. He is one of of two different worlds. He has been accepted into the Native American culture there on that reservation, but he's also still well known for everything that he did, or for what his family did with the Yellowstone. And Beth would be the same way, right? She has power she wasn't a lawyer. What was Beth? Beth was in real estate.
I'm pretty sure she was in real estate. I thought we talked about this before. We weren't sure if she was a lawyer or not.
No, she was in real estate.
She's definitely big business, and she did this in the major town. She didn't want to come back. Remember, she just came back for the visit, and then
their name still is going to pull weight. I think it not as much, because you can't say, well, good luck getting around our Yellowstone ranch, which is half the size of Montana,
Yeah.
But there is some truth to all of that, in my opinion.
There's definitely is. So we get a little bit of Belle and Miles talking about the situation and how everything is playing out, and it's complicated. He talks about how his people see him as a traitor, and she talks about some of the drama that she's been through and with her life, and the whole reason why she left ATF was to be closer to home. But when you're closer to home, if you've dealt with certain things in the area, then things are going to come up, and the locals are going to remember you. Real quick, there reminds me of a story of a friend of mine who was a cop, and the borough that he lived in is not where he patrolled. He did that intentionally because he didn't want to bump into people that he knew and stuff. But as time went on, he got married, had a family, wanted to be closer to home, so he decided to move to a precinct that was in his borough. And man, the stories he had. Oh, I went to go bust a drug dealer. Remember Jimmy so-and-so? Yeah. He's now a drug dealer. And I saw him, and he knows my mom, and he knows everything. A lot of that happens. And I think that's what's coming up here. It could be with the woman that spat in Belle's face, with her ATF days and the things that she did, and maybe locally. So they bring that up, but they both agree on one thing. While he's seen as a traitor and she's got some history that's coming up, Kayce has it the worst. Yes. Because everybody knows Kayce, everybody knows the Duttons, and even though the dad is out of the picture, the family's out of the picture, he is still a Dutton, and that will still stick on him like glue, and it's going to cause problems.
Well, yeah, because they never say they never come to a conclusion of how his dad was murdered. It was just became an open investigation, right? It was no longer considered that he took his own life. And then there's the case of Jamie, who is just missing. They assume that he knows what happened. And then you still have Beth, who's just a crazy bitch. That's not going to change.
No, not going to change. Not going to change. I'm really curious to see if they do that spinoff. It still hasn't been confirmed it's going to happen. Beth and her, her husband and your favorite character, Rip.
I think they're going to bleed this as much as they can. And if
they agree to come back for it,
yeah. I mean, if this show and the Madisons does well, I thought there was another show.
And real quick, did we mention that? I think we did. That Madison, we did mention it. It's on now. There's 3 episodes available. It is not, from what we can see, it's not related to this. Don't count this Madison as a spinoff. It takes place in Montana.
Yes, we're going to discuss it really shortly at the end of this.
At the end,
just don't expect it to be anything like this. But I will say this: you've only watched 1 episode.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this: if you watch 1 episode, watch the 3 episodes that are available. Your opinion might change after you watch 2 and 3. And not saying the first episode is bad, but and we're going to discuss it after this.
Yeah, we'll get into it. All right, so then Kayce shows up at Rainwater's house, starts talking to him, and like, hey, guess what? We got a suspect, not the same one that's linked to the assassination, the shooting, and all that stuff, the bombing that happened. No, this is separate. This is actually just from what took place over on the road. We're trying to figure this out. And it was like, oh, okay. So, but while they're doing this,
there's 3 different shooters.
Yeah, there's 3 different shooters, right? Because that's the other thing, right? We find out that there could be 2 other shooters. It's the Cleggs. Right, it's all Clegg brothers.
I was thinking that. I'm sorry. I'm reading my notes. I was thinking that Kayce told them. No, that was something that comes in afterwards.
Yeah, that comes in afterwards. It's all right. It's all right. Hey, people, again, if we got a lot of new people that jumped in for this, how it works is just like you would with your buddies. We watch the show, we take our notes, of course, and then we go and we go back and cover it over again, and we join in with you people, so you could jump in the comments. You like the show, you don't like the show, you're gonna keep watching it, that type of deal. So so maybe something.
Watch it. Watch us after.
Exactly. Like and subscribe. Hype. There we go. We're still doing it. Right, we're covering this. Right. So he's talking to him about this. They're trying to. It was just a rancher. It looks like he was just upset in the whole thing that was going on. All right, so they're like, okay. Now then, we get a quick cut back to the HQ, and then this is where we also find out about the 2 shooters, right? Because he was like, all right, because remember, he wasn't scared. The rancher was like, if I say anything, they're gonna come after me. That whole thing, but he's not related. He's not connected into the Cleggs, and he says, yeah, it's the Clegg brothers, and that's the other thing that they noticed too. They were like, okay, there were more shooters. Oh, all right, now we got this.
Yeah, but then he was like, I thought we were just going to scare them off, basically, so they can get through. Like that was
the plan, right? So maybe he took a shot at the air, while the others actually took the pop shots at the Marshals.
And they're going to have ballistics over who shot who.
Yeah, right. Who shot who, right? And I think that's what they did find out also from the girls that were brought in. That it didn't match. That was the thing. It was like they didn't match the bullets. They matched from his rifle. All right, so then when they jump back to Kayce in Rainwater, this is where he notices that he's seen this truck drive by multiple times.
And Mo noticed it too.
Mo notices it, yep. And then shots fired, everybody down. It's a drive-by. Rainwater goes flying through a window. He drops. Kayce takes one to the back. No, that doesn't happen. This is the only thing that whenever I see these type of drive-by situations with main characters, I don't think anything is going to happen. I thought if anything, Mo would take the shot because Mo's always just in the background, not so much the foreground.
What if Rainwater gets shot like every episode, but then survives?
That could happen.
Every episode he gets shot somewhere, and then he's like back. I can't believe I got shot again.
Again, right? I just keep taking shots. Well, hey, Kayce has a moment that we're like, how did you survive this? But no. So there's a shooting, and there is somebody that drops, but it looks like it's just one of the other guys that's part of the entourage, Rainwater's crew. that drops down on here. So so far it looks like nobody dies here.
And yeah, and
right?
they mentioned it at the end too. And as they're like attending to him, they say, we got this. Kayce, go after him. Kayce basically phones it in to let them know, and then we go back to the team talking about it.
Yeah, and they're telling them to stay back. They spill off all the info that they have about the Cleggs and all this, and they're like, "Stay back, don't go, don't lone wolf it, don't lone wolf it." Did you think he was gonna listen? I didn't.
I did not. No, I was like, no,
he's going Rambo. He's going Rambo. He's just gonna do it. He's pissed off. They just took a shot at him and his blood brother. I was like, nope, this is what's gonna happen. But no, the next scene is just we see them all teaming up. He waited, and he's like, all right.
So this is one thing I never understand, and this lots of episodes. So here you have a team. They're outside. They're mounting up. They're getting ready to go in. And these people are clearly going to take shots at them. Why wouldn't they sit in a spot where they could wait till they all get together and then just mow them down right there? Seems like it'd be a lot easier.
Well, it could be. But what I was really curious about is how did he know they stopped and just moved up and held a position? That's the thing that I was trying to figure out, because he was chasing the truck, but at some point I guess they stopped and decided to get out and just
that's
hold
what I'm
ground.
saying. Like, if they were going to sit there and they were going to take shots at the Marshals, why wouldn't they wait till they were all like conjugated together and then be like, oh, hey, look at this, like shooting fish in a barrel?
Yeah, I don't know. Questions, people. You have answers. Some people. I know some people have answers. Like, it's the writing. This is the writing.
That's exactly it. Like, that would be a really short series. How do you renew it if they killed all the Marshals?
They killed everybody off.
Very true.
Anyway, they get there. They get on scene. They come up with a strategy. We get Miles and Kayce go one round. We got everybody else the other, and they started getting exchanged. Firefight. We got a firefight taking place here. They're going back and forth.
For a firefight almost every episode.
That's exactly every episode. We talked about that before. Expecting every episode. That's fine. We'll see what happens. Cal, he's still the leader of the group. He says, "Hey, Kayce, Miles, flank. We'll produce cover fire. You go." And then as they're heading up on the side, man, did Kayce hit a trip mine or what? He just went flying. He hit an explosion.
This is definitely where I was confused, because they come up behind him and Cal tells them, hey, don't fire at them or else you'll give your position away. All right. Understandable, right? Again, we're seeing that they're trying to train them the same way that they were trained as Navy SEALs, right? Yeah. If you're a Navy SEAL, I apologize. I don't know if that's really how you were trained or not, but that's what the premise is here, right? So they're going up, and then all of a sudden, boom, an explosion. It knocks. I thought it was Miles.
You thought it was Miles.
But it's Kayce. He's knocked down. I was like, oh, please, no phone call from Monica. Please, no phone call from Monica.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I thought it was going to be a flashback. For sure, I thought we were going to get a flashback. And
then we have Miles getting him up. So I'm thinking, all right, well, this place is booby trapped. But then he just tells them where to go. I'm thinking, wait, isn't everything booby trapped? Like, what was the explosion? And now we have to say quickly on our screeners. Oh, yes. It does say that the show is not complete. So if we miss something, maybe we have to go back and watch it.
Good point. That's a good point. We'll bring that up. Yeah. Just so you know, it did say that it was incomplete. So maybe there was a little more to it. Maybe they explained a little more. Most of the time,
these guys are like, what are you talking about? There was a whole part where it showed these guys like putting landmines.
Yeah, exactly. We had one, people, real quick, not to drift, but there was one for Tulsa King, and we didn't see a certain character hanging in the background because that character was not hanging in the background when we watched the screener.
He wasn't there.
And everyone was like,
it was very much so in the final cut.
Yeah, in the final cut. So yeah, all the other ones, the final cuts, this particular episode we're watching is not final cut.
Because we were talking about like, there's no way he's not coming back.
Yeah.
And then people were like, he was hanging in the back.
Yeah,
like,
put it in comments. I was like, yo, how'd you miss that? He's right there. You don't see it.
Literally was a detective with him.
With him hanging in the background. So we
I
could
totally
have one
forgot
of
about
those moments. How did he survive? And who knows? Most of the time, what's missing is special effects and other things. And there could be a Monica moment. We don't know, But from what we could see, he took my main issue with this scene is that he just got up and was like, "Let's go. Let's just keep going." Really, you just stepped on something that exploded. Your foot doesn't hurt. Your
something
leg doesn't hurt.
exploded. We don't know how close it was.
It sent him flying. That was for sure. It
Well,
sent him.
He's
You
a
don't think
superhero.
so? He's a superhero.
He's a super done.
It's super done. I know some people say, "Hey, they put on the heavy armor." Did you miss it? Cal said we're putting on the heavy gear. Okay, I'll take it for that. But anyway, Miles wants to, play a good partner and say, "Hey, I'm coming to you." Don't do that. That's what they want. They know I'm down.
Yeah.
They want you to come out of your cover. He says, "Stay where you're at. Let's just keep firing." And sure enough, they keep doing it, and then they pick one off. Right?
Yeah, he tells him where to go. I'm going to go this way. You flank them around there, something like that. Of course, we see one, and of course, Kayce. Again, if anyone's ever watched Blue Bloods, and now it's moving into Boston Blue. I think they are the only police family in New York that shoots people, and now it's transferred over to the only police family that shoots people in Boston. Are the new one. We kind of get the same thing. These Duttons are shooting lots of people.
They're shooting everybody. You know what? But
they're taking out a lot of people.
We see that he falls off like a little cliffside. We don't see him land.
Yes.
But it's assumed he's dead, right?
But
so anyway,
they say how he fell, that there was no way. But he got shot, what, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, he took some shots. So he drops the other one that's still around, his gun jams. Because it looks like he's still trying to reload. It's jamming up. He gets tackled. Kayce tackles him down. Miles, pulls the gun.
Miles tackled him.
Miles tackled him from the angle. Then it's like, all right, stay down. They handcuff him. They got him. Then that's when they go and they take a look. What about the other guy? And then they look over and it was like, oh, this was a big drop. So, and it was kind of funny that they brought that up and didn't show the body. So still leaves that open. It's like, hey, if we don't see a body, did he die or did he just take a shot?
That,
right?
But at least it wasn't the place they've dumped other people. In case he was like, "Hey, don't look down there." Let's
right, exactly. What are you doing? Oh man,
no, we don't need to look down there. He's good.
You're gonna see all the other, but damn, you Rip. Couldn't you just stay with one spot? It's all over the place. Bodies everywhere. Wait, is that Todd from the bank? Oh no, So anyway. Then we jump over, and I'm sure people, I really hope they jump in the comments on this one because I'm trying to figure this out. We see that Cal is in the locker room and he's looking real suspicious. If you're just taking stress pills and all this stuff, you don't need to keep looking in behind like who's watching me. Hey, you're taking medication, whatever. But it's implying he's taking something illegal. We saw him take some of this before, and then now he's doing it again, and his hands are shaking. So
I guess it's gonna be like Oxy or something.
Oh man, really? That could be it.
Again, you're talking about a guy that was in the Navy SEAls.
He had a drug problem and a drinking problem. He did say that first episode.
And we know many soldiers, Marines, they suffer from chronic pain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's just my guess because it's normally the illegal pills that most shows would deal with or something to do with like Oxy and stuff like that.
Yeah. But Kayce comes in, sees the drugs, kicks it out of his hand, elbows him, says, "You junkie," and then it cuts off. No, that didn't happen, but it would have been funny. It would have been really funny because instead what happens is he looks at Kayce, he's like, "Hey, I'm glad you're still standing after taking that explosion." I was like, yeah, whatever. My head was ringing before that. He blows it off.
He does make comment like, "It seems like you keep getting back up."
Yeah, it's like, whatever.
Which makes you think that this goes back also to their time when they were serving in the Navy, that maybe he was the one that was always like, "You always made it out." Like,
well, yeah, he just runs out there and does the job. But he starts talking about it. Cal brings up the whole thing with Rainwater, says, "I'm sorry for getting you more involved. I'm trying to bring your personal into that. That was wrong on me." And he's like, "Hey, this is just part of life here out here. There's tons of drama.
Yeah,
this is always going to be a thing. As long as I'm alive and my family, this is going to be a thing. And he says, yeah, you know what, but you know what? It's Miller time. Let's go to the bar. And he's like, no, don't do that. I'm not doing that. You definitely shouldn't be doing that because the people out here, they don't like progress, you know, as you know, like remember, because I think Cal brought up a thing about
progress is a bad word here.
Yeah, progress is a bad word out here. So you can't go around.
And they all carry guns.
They all carry guns. Yeah, everybody carries a weapon out here. And he says, well, I'm not doing that. I'm going home. I'm not going to the bar. Yeah. So, oh man. I don't know. So you're thinking that, and we'll move on to the next one, but right before you're thinking that this is like Oxy or something.
Oxy is what I'm thinking. Because when you get addicted to Oxy, not that I've been addicted to Oxy, but I mean, I think we know more than enough people that have, or stories. You may not be in pain anymore, but you are addicted to the high that it gives you. He was shaking his hands were shaking, but I don't know if that was supposed to be like his hands were shaking because he knows he shouldn't be doing it, or he was worried that someone might walk in and say, "Hey, what you got there?" They haven't given us any signs that he shakes. I've worked with people who shake because they're alcoholics.
I saw his hand. I just saw his hand when he was taking it. Like, yeah, I get you're trying to take some pills out, but it just seemed like there was a little more to it. Who knows? It could be just a medical. It could be something even off topic. It could just be a medical condition, and he doesn't want anyone to know.
Well, remember what I think his wife took their daughter, and he doesn't see her anymore. Isn't that what we?
That was another thing. Yeah, they was in, but that was during.
I don't think his daughter was killed. Was she? I think that
we don't know.
Yeah,
I think we know.
That
we don't know.
Something like that.
I think he would have said if it was something that's.
We'd have to go back and watch.
One of the things to take away from this last scene is just with the Clegg. We do see that Kayce brings it up again that this is going to be a problem. He says this whole thing, it was them. This is going to be an issue. We're going to have problems with these people. So just keep your eye out, you know, when you're out there at the bar. I can't believe this. Right, but then we do see later on, we see Belle also explaining to the rest of the crew with Miles and Indra, hey, we definitely know the shooters were the Cleggs because they confessed. Well, this guy confessed, that they were the shooters, and that the rancher was just there and he didn't do anything. He was there as decoy, just take the shots and the whole thing. So then they start discussing, should we go to the bar? And like, well, you know, Kayce said we shouldn't.
And we have two people that are locals there. So if it was just Kayce as like the only local, then yes, you know, this is where it's like, why are you not listening to the one local? But we have, you know, Belle and Miles both that are like, hey, you know what? If we're not showing up, it shows that we're hiding from everyone. And then Belle also says, hey, you know what? My want for a drink outweighs trying to stay safe.
Because I think it was also in this scene where Andrea brings up about the woman that spat in her face, and she's like, I don't even know her. You know, I never met her. I don't know who she is, but hey, it's part of it. You know, I did.
And that makes me think it goes back to being part of the ATF, where they're hiding it because there's, for some odd reason, they need to keep it a secret. Maybe it's still undercover stuff. Maybe it's still stuff that, you know, she can't talk about, even with the Marshals.
Yeah, maybe. So we get another scene with Kayce. He's at home eating alone. Right, that's it. Life, eating alone. He doesn't even have a TV. It's pretty sad.
We find out Tate is staying the night at
Grandpa's, right? Yeah, because he, you know, so here's two parts of this happen with Kayce at home, and we're like, well, one makes sense, the other one doesn't. This part where he's there alone, there's a knock at the door, and he just finished having a firefight, doing all stuff. You killed him, man. And you look, let me just go and open up the door. Not ask who it is, not get my side piece out. Just in case.
We don't see him grab his weapon, walk up, look through the window, or nothing. He just answers the door like, "Hey, I'm a Dutton. What's anyone going to do to me on my property?" Because
and it's at night. Okay, it is at night as well. So it's like, come on now. And he doesn't even have a porch light. Okay, no porch light. So either way, he opens up and it's Rainwater there. Says, hey, all right. He comes in, they talk. He points out the stallion, tells us a sad story about that was for Monica so she could ride again, but then Monica got sick. And that's why he never broke in the stallion before, the horse, because he was like, what's the point? What's the point? And then Rainwater says, yeah, right. What's the point of breaking another spirit? Oh, that was good. There's some good writing here, people. It's not all trash. I know some people are like, Taylor didn't write it. But some of these lines, especially this right here, because it brings up a lot of their relationship that continued from Yellowstone. Because Rainwater says, "Hey, we have a strong bond. We're brothers." And remember, they did the blood thing and the whole that, right? And he's like, "This is it. We have to stick together, no matter what happens here, and everything that gets involved. It's us." But this is the other part that sort of threw me off with this, is because then he was like, "Well, this Rainwater thing, I gave in. I gave them back their equipment and stuff, and they're gonna go do their mining." So what was the point then? I thought it was to bring them to the negotiation of what? Because he didn't say that they are the ones that did the explosion on the highway, but I'm assuming that was part of it, to lure them here, to force.
I feel like Rainwater has moved away from that. Now we'll find out. I mean, they're going to get their equipment there eventually.
Yeah.
Like they're not building on the res. So one way or another, they're going to get there. They are still, I mean, whether or not they're on the res or not, it's still, you still can't just take someone's property because they ended up there. You're just telling them they can't spin around. And I also didn't understand why they couldn't spin around. All right. I'm sorry. I understand you were a little off the road, but it wasn't like it was a big mountain that you couldn't turn around.
It seemed like it was a narrow path. So then even if they try to go, they'll probably come in contact with direct traffic, and it'll be a mess. Either way, they didn't do it.
You could have, it just seemed a little weird. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But either way, it looks like they're just gonna work things out. And the other takeaway from this is Kayce bringing up the Cleggs and says, "Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna have problems with them, and I have a feeling they were behind all of this, not just the shooting, because we know that, but also with what happened at the event, because they have a vested interest in the mines as well. Maybe they're working the mines or doing something, but still, it's a financial issue there."
They said something about that they have the contract.
They have the contract. There you go. See, so they have the mining contract.
Sounds to me like Kayce read the scripts going forward. So
yeah, exactly. He knows everything. It was
I
like
was reading the script,
exactly,
not the contract, and it looks like this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah, this is gonna be a problem. Yeah, so get ready. So it's like, okay, that's good, right? So then we jump over to the bar. We see Cal sitting at the bar talking to the bartender, and she's already Maddie, right? So she's saying everything about, "Oh, I heard what happened on the highway. I heard what happened in the res." It's like, "Oh, is there anything I need to worry about?" And I'm not snitching on any of my customers. I think you would if there's an altercation. That's bad for business.
But that's what he says. He goes, "It would be nice to know, like, hey, do we need to watch our back? Is there somebody here? Because it's not good for you guys." He is trying to hit on her.
Of course.
I don't blame him, because he's pretty damn hot. That is my opinion. I do not speak for Adam.
There we go. Yeah, right. You can't speak for me. How dare you say that? I would never say that. No, but she's definitely good on the eyes. So, but she whips out a pipe, and she was like, "If anything gets out of hand, I have this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I would still think that they would have a bouncer similar to the Patch over at the. Wait, there's a Patch. No, I think about a landman. The Patch doesn't have a bouncer either. I was thinking about that. Wait a minute. What am I saying?
Need one. Maybe they just don't need one. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, right? But anyway, he brings that up. While he's there, though, he does get a text. I thought this was going to be something else. I really thought this was going to lead into something, but we get the crew hanging out which is Molly, Andrea, and Belle, having their drinks, talking about all the stuff that's going down. He comes over and says, "Hey, good news. The 2 girls that got shot, they're out. They're on their way home. The guy who got shot on the porch, he's stable, so no deaths. Everything is fine." I feel like we've talked about this before, other shows that do certain things off camera and set things in motion, and that's fine. Okay. No sad endings in this episode with that, at least when it comes to that.
And I don't have a problem with him coming and saying, "Hey, good news." That's fine. That's fine filler. It doesn't leave us with like, "Oh, did someone, are they going after them for murder now?"
Yeah. And then I'm looking at that. That's when they start talking about getting spit in the face and stuff like that, and traitors. So yeah, she doesn't know. But anyway, once that's all done, while they're doing their little talk and they're talking about everything, something it looks like something's gonna go down. Right, Andrea notices some guys walking over.
Yep.
And like, all right, get ready. This is gonna happen. This is expected. Cal stands up. Cowboy comes over and says, "Hey," he's like, "Were you involved over?" Yeah. I was like, "All right, you saved my friend's daughter who got shot." Right, something that it wasn't his kid; it was his friend's kid who got shot. And I want to thank you for that. And the next round is on me. And he picks his hand out. They shake hands. The other guy, cowboy that's with him, stays quiet. They walk off. Okay. Was that needed? I don't know. I feel like I said when we were watching this, we saw a lot of real cowboys, people in rodeo and other things get dropped in Yellowstone, and they just get bit rolls. I wasn't sure.
I do think this is needed. Because first off, he grabs a beer bottle, he has it behind. Now, I watched Justified enough to know that Raylan Givens turns around and he just shows his side piece and he holds on to it. That's all you need to do. This is where so understand, like, the two girls that got shot were both from the res, correct? This guy clearly was not from the res. So he's saying, hey, this is a friend of mine's daughter, and thank you so much. Yeah. Which is basically saying, hey, you saved, we're on your side. So this is someone from the other side of the res, and I don't what's on the other side of the res? I don't know what it's considered.
It's just a Montana.
Montana land. I don't know. It's all U.S.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Non-resident.
Yeah, we see not everyone has a problem with the Native Americans there.
Yeah, there's some issues, and we've heard it from the rancher, right? With Don Moore, I think that was his name. But yeah, it did no issues. Hey, we're gonna have an extra round, so it worked out in their favor. And he said it. That was one of the things he brought up. He said, hopefully, we can convince people that we're the good guys.
And it gives them a reason not to be scared to go to the bar. Now it's like, hey, we are going to the bar, and people realize we're just doing our job. We're not here to cause any problems. Let's be honest. The Cleggs are going to show up at that bar eventually.
Oh, of course. There's going to be a shootout. There's going to be all kinds of craziness. All right. And speaking of the Cleggs, we jump over to Kayce. Now it's late night. He's sleeping. He hears something. And now he grabs his sidearm. Now he's ready. He's like, okay, now let's get ready for something. If it's going to go down. Again, no porch light, nothing. Right. So he opens up the door, takes a look. There's a bullet on the ground. And we know. We don't need anyone to tell us what's going on. We know what's going on here. This is a message. He took one out from their crew, and there's a bullet with his name on it, and he will be the next to go. We know that can't happen because this has been renewed for a second season, but this doesn't mean that he can't lose a member of his crew.
Or a member of his family.
They take out Tate? Do they do that? Do they say, you know what? Do we really need the son? We already took the wife out of the story. Can we go a step further? But I think if you do that, you destroy the character. Kayce will be so far gone mentally that he will turn into Rambo, and just go nuts. So no, I don't think.
Okay, but understand there are other people that have been close to the Yellowstone. I mean, they could really go down the road, and I'm not even talking about Rip or Beth, but there are other people that were cowboys that.
Oh, you mean like some of the
if they really want, I know. I think this is supposed to be.
That's a stretch.
I think this is supposed to be like, hey, this is for you.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a bullet for you.
Yeah, it's good. It's leading up to it, so at least that way we know there's going to be a conflict between the two. And my theory now is that that's going to be the long-standing story going forward. Other things are going to happen, but they're always going to be there unless they're constantly feuding. Like, what was that one on the History Channel, the McCoys?
The McCoys.
There you go. Remember? And now it's constant battle. I had to.
Let me ask you this: if you said at the end of the season, one of these 5 team members have to be killed off, which one would you say it is?
Andrew. She was going to leave anyway.
I would not
anyway. I would pick her. I'd pick her. She said she was going to leave anyway. I could say her. Oh, what? You're going to take out Miles?
I mean, I could see it being Miles due to the fact that, it would incite stuff with the Marshals, but also incite stuff when it comes to the res. But, and again, I have no insight, but what if it was Cal, which then pushes Kayce to actually be
the leader? I could see that.
Or Belle be the leader, but have to pretty much say, hey, you need to, show us the ways, then you got to bring someone else on.
Well, I could see Belle also leaving with all the issues. If she's having the issues with the gambling, if that's really an issue, we don't know. We're just saying they showed us that for a reason, and then they left it.
Yeah.
And the fact that she has,
because we've seen in Yellowstone, like they didn't have a problem killing off characters.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that came from a show that very well, The Walking Dead. By killing off main characters, it keeps the threat of losing your favorite,
of course, that
your
was the
favorite
thing.
actor being killed off.
Yeah, no one's guaranteed.
That's Michael Cudlitz.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Exactly. Look at that. So, oh man, I remember that, Abraham. But yeah, so it was good. I feel it's growing on me for what it is. People need to just detach that, like, oh, I want all the heavy drama, which we just saw with the Madison, the far off shots, the land, the long scenes of just guys fishing, you know what I mean, and long dialogue on the porch. This is not that. This is more action focused. This is more in your face type of drama, of that type. It's not deep. If we want to go in that, go ahead.
No, I'm with you. Again, if you watch CBS TV shows, Blue Bloods, now Boston Blue, they have what
SWAT,
SWAT, SEAL Team, all these other ones. This is in that vein.
Yeah.
The only thing they've done is they've taken one really well-known character, Kayce Dutton. They've taken a very well-known property, the Yellowstone, and they've combined it all into this.
Yeah. And it works. It's different. It's cool. I'm enjoying it.
I really do enjoy it. Now, we were going to talk about the Madisons quickly.
Yeah.
Are you going to finish watching it today?
Yeah. I'm going to finish. Let's save it.
Let's come back later on tonight and just not do a full thing like this, but let's discuss what we liked and what we didn't like about it. Because I'm going to tell people, if you're the Madisons were up probably before this, because it's already done. Like the 3 episodes are done.
3 episodes are already up.
Yeah.
This drops. It'll be finished after 9 p.m. It's finished.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock Eastern, and then it ends at 9, and then this will go up right after. So
let's film like 20-30 minutes about the Madisons once you're finished.
Okay. All right, we could do that.
We can just drop that right away. And I want to discuss it because I was on the fence about it.
Yeah, and I have a lot of issues with it. That was my thing. I got really upset watching it. The first part of it.
And you can kind of discuss that because I think your criticism is a criticism every single person in the world when something happens in their hometown or a town that they live in hears things that aren't true or are a little off, right? Like, I mean, that's how it is.
It's a stereotype, and it's something that they pick, and they're like, oh, this is how all of these people act, and this is how they all are, and it's BS, and that's not how everyone lives. But we'll get into it on that one. But hey, everybody, if you made it this far, thank you. As we discussed, and I put it in the notes, and people are like, oh wow, these are pretty long. Yeah, breakdown, recap, and review. Usually breakdowns, they're lengthy. If it's just a review, hey, you like the show? Yeah, pretty good. Okay, thanks. 3 out of 4 stars. You know what I mean? No, we do the whole thing because there's stuff that some people miss. Maybe some people want to know more. They're not too sure. They have no one else to talk to about the show. Well, we're here. So you can talk to us. Put it in the comments. We can go from there. But again, thank you. A large majority of you do stick around. You understand what we're doing here. We do this on a bunch of shows. You can check out the playlist. You'll see a bunch of shows we've been covering over the years. So, yeah, we will be back next week for episode 4 of Marshals. And then later today, if you find it, you'll see another little short that we did. Or not a short, but like 30-minute conversation.
Wait till before you see this. Just saying.
Probably before? Okay.
Depending. I don't know.
We'll see. Either way, you should see something else in the feed. It'll pop up. All right, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Take care.